Welcome to The Pit Check, your weekly news reports for the best new metal and hardcore albums each and every week. That's what weekly means. This is a fantastic week if you're into more underrated artists that make incredible music, or if you like being the "I knew them before they were famous" guy. So this week we don't have a lot of big names, but we have a lot of big albums. Like last week we talked about having too many EPs and demos lately, but this week all of the albums are so long and two of them are like an hour and a half each. So put on some comfy clothes, turn on some nice speakers, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into this week's best new albums. Philly nu metal. They still do, but they used to too.
You'll find yourself in darkness again.
The Pennsylvania-based metalcore slash nu metalcore slash shotgun blast band Varials has released this behemoth of an album, Where the Light Leaves. Man, this album is just a black hole. I feel like I'm getting spaghettified just listening to it. There is so much going on in this album. They've taken a big step back from the electronics and the clean singing and more of the octane core elements that were present in some of their last albums, and they've gone straight back into beatdown, back-breaking, physical carnage. And their new vocalist, Skylar Conder from the band Cell, adds an even crazier level of punishment than thought possible. I really dig how beefy and nasty all of the riffs and grooves are on here. This is literally the perfect gym album. Even if it is so dark and menacing and kinda eerie, you know what? It's like getting a new personal best on a bench press in the back rooms. Progressive technical death thrash. Is that a thing? The technological astro death band Cryptic Shift has birthed this futuristic space baby of an album, Overspace and Supertime. Here, this is the perfect litmus test to know if you'll like this album. This album is only 5 songs, but lasts for an hour and 19 minutes. So, does that sound like some weird shit you'd be down for? Because if so... Real talk though, I really fucking love this one. I am super into weird shit, and this is some of the coolest, most groovy, psychedelic thrash and death metal I've probably ever heard. It's jazzy and progressive while blasting through some insane riffs and running like a 5-minute mile. This album is kind of like if Blood Incantation mixed a shitload of coke with their acid. Every single instrumentalist here is a genuine master of their craft, and this can only be made by people with such a strong grasp on both the technical skill and songwriting side of things. But it is potentially so weird that it might be limiting. But if the audio equivalent of a David Lynch or Panos Cosmatos movie sounds good to you, get on this ASAP. I keep saying it, the German hardcore scene is crazy. The Frankfurt-based metallic hardcore band Truth Grip has released their latest EP, Twist of Fate. Truth Grip doesn't do the whole 3-chord hardcore thing. If you want violent, non-stop, jaw-breaking riffs, this is the band for you.
Last names and the birthright. Open every door. Open every door. Throwing their money in their face.
This EP is 6 songs of straight up aggression. The drums are punky and driving, and this vocalist is just pummeling your eardrums. Plus we've got features from Minus Youth, Peace of Mind, and Blossom Decay, which all go crazy. And if it wasn't obvious already, we've got breakdowns here that are so heavy they'll buckle your knees. I don't think that's what this band name means. The Canadian mathcore band Indigo Ice has released their sophomore album, No Closure. Mathcore alone really undersells what they're doing here. They've obviously got the, mathy, chaotic hardcore vibes, but then they've also got these like proggy, genty metalcore vibes to just straight up beat down hardcore and deathcore. There is so much creativity oozing out of every pore of this band. They cite their influences as everywhere from Veil of Maya to the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza to Car Bomb, and they do a lot to make a completely unique sound though, that somehow manages to be both extremely precise while also being really raw and gritty, with these balls to the wall syncopated rhythms that I just can't get enough of. This is an underrated gem of an album, and I hope Indigo Ice gets a ton of attention in the future, because I need more of this in my life. What's in the corner? The gothic symphonic metalcore band The Gloom in the Corner has released their latest album, Royal Discordance. When I was a teenager, this would have had Hot Topic on lock. This is dripping in all of those operatic and grandiose stage performance vibes. Perfect for all of the emo and goth theater kids, both current and former. But in my opinion, this band is one of the ones that does it in a way that's not corny or cringy. Like, I'm not into spooky carnivals or you cannot comprehend my twisted mind. But a super dark, tragic drama, I can get into that. And especially when this band actually does bring the heat. There are moments on this album that are absolutely chaotic and devastatingly heavy. All in all, this is an album that I'm not typically looking for, but I am glad I found it. I'm always into bands that take huge creative swings, and that's abundantly clear here. I mean, the lore alone is like mountains of backstory, telling this like unbelievably complex story that spans multiple albums, which I think does give this band and this album the extra spice and cohesion that not only keeps the songs glued together, but it also allows them to go in really wild new directions while staying focused on the story itself. Definitely recommended for people who maybe dream of a metalcore Sweeney Todd. Olhava what she's having. Sorry, that was bad. The Russian Blackgaze band Olhava has released yet another masterpiece of an album titled Memorial. If you love absolutely gorgeous black metal with an ethereal, uplifting, shoegazy atmosphere, maybe you're into bands like Death Heaven or Mole, you need to hear this album. Saying this album sounds cinematic or epic is a massive understatement. This thing is so intense, you could probably put it as the soundtrack to the Battle of Pelennor Fields. This album feels almost megalophobic in that it's just so gargantuan and imposing. The drummer is ferocious and pummeling with great dynamics. The guitars are constantly shredding with these like haunting harmonies and tremolos that feel somehow both menacing and cozy, if that makes sense. Like being in a warm log cabin that's in the middle of a dark, snowy woods on a mountaintop. I should stop making analogies and just say that this is an hour and 20-minute absolute leviathan of an album. Any black metal lover should put this in their rotation ASAP. Brutal Chicagoland deathcore. The Chicago-based Myspace deathcore band Traumatization has just released this ripper of a debut EP. This EP is feral. No singing, no auto-tune, no synths, just pure anal disemboweling chaos. This band is actually kind of a local Chicago supergroup with members from Dem's Fightin' Words, Come Correct, and Augment. And we've got features from Reverend and Mauled, who are two of my favorites on the Myspace deathcore scene right now. And the drums were performed and recorded by Ava of Orbital Gate, one of my favorites on the slam scene right now. And fun fact, Ava also mixed and mastered this EP. So yeah, this thing is just full of talent and it sounds phenomenal. It's got just enough grit and grime and some nice guitar fuzz and feedback, but with enough clarity to hear every bit of these face-melting riffs. This is a one-stop shop for all of your brutal Midwest deathcore needs. Here is the entire list of all of the new metal and hardcore albums that came out this week. Necrofier also had a sick new album. It doesn't necessarily break the mold for them, but it's really good if you need more Necrofier in your life. Infectious Jelqing also had a super fun new split. If you love meme slams and bass drop breakdowns, this is a crazy good time. There's lots of super good underrated stuff this week. I hope you check some of it out. And again, if you have a band that has an album or EP out, please DM me on any of my social channels or post it in the comments below. It also doesn't have to be your band. If you just know of an album or EP coming out, post in the comments, shoot me a DM. I'd love to take a listen and hopefully it'll make it on the show. If you have any old leftover merch, send it to me and I'll wear it on the channel. And I think that's it for this week. Thank you again for joining me and listening to me yap. I'll catch you next week for more yapping and for more incredible new albums. See you later.